Hello, welcome, Jack and Joe show. Joe Sansom, please, someone help me. Someone smashed and grabbed my American Express. How are you?
Very, very good. Even better after that. What a week to be a Fulham fan it's been. Um, Only had one result, but I feel like we've just ridden the wave all week to date of just pure positivity, and I love it. And what a great result it was, Jack.
The most ridiculous afternoon of Barclays football you'll ever really see. But I will just start by saying that it is actually a good point to make that we have had very good performances and not got the results this season. In the likes of Manchester United at home probably sticks out to me. So it's nice to do that sort of thing and go and smash and grab someone, as Peter said in his article this morning, which was a really good article. If you haven't read it, Joe, how are you? And I think I already asked you that actually. Let's just dive straight into
Let's do it.
to Brighton. How did you consume the game, and what were your reactions when Solomon hit one in their fucking goal hole?
So I consumed the game via stream, not fresh water. But my dad was in the American Express lounge at the Amex, which is meant to be home only. Let's just say that I don't think he could hold his emotions in on when Solomon scored. And yeah, I think we might have lost our place in the future. It was just quite a lucky thing that meant that we could go there, and we were very grateful. But my dad went, and I don't think we're going back. What a fantastic day everyone must have had. I mean, performance-wise, let's get that out the way. By no means was this the most undeserved win ever in the history of the world, like some have made it seem. We were second best on the day, but I do think we limited Brighton to good chances. I think they had a lot of low quality chances, and every now and again they had one when they actually broke in behind. But there wasn't any where I was thinking, "Oh my god, they've missed a sitter." I have to admit, and I thought we defended overall quite well. At the back, I thought in midfield we lost the ball too much, but it's one of these things. I'm saying all these things, and like, who cares? Like, we played like not great. We got a great win, Jack, and one that I was not expecting. I thought, we could grab a point, and it would be a fantastic result, and it still would have been if we'd have held on to a 0-0, for example, if Solomon hadn't broken away. But a win takes us above Brighton. I know they've got a couple of games in hand, as do a few teams below us. We've always said points on the board over games in hand all day long. We've banked them. They're ours. No one's going to take them away from us unless we have broken some ridiculous rule at some point and we get a points deduction.
Don't even.
I don't think we have. Touch wood. But a few ridiculous shout-outs for performances over the weekend. Tim Reamond, Diop, sensational. Leno, flawless. Both our fullbacks, so solid. And in particular, you got to shout out Kenny Tete going up against Mitoma, who's been unbelievable in recent weeks and months. And he really kept him quiet. Something that I genuinely don't think many right-backs in this league could do, or any defenders in this league could do. And then, Jack, I think you should come on to the man of the hour, Manor Solomon. I think that was his announcement when we announced him after protracted talks in the summer. But what a finish and what a super sub he's turning out to be. But should he be more than that?
Yeah, good point. I thought that the lineup on Saturday was interesting. The fact you'd go with Bobby D. Cordova-Reid up front. But it was evident, and Marcus Silva said it in his post-match press conference, that it was his mistake. You basically, in the system that we play, you need a focal point, whether that be Mitrovic or Vinicius Jr. Sorry, Carlos Vinicius.
I wish it was Vinicius Jr.
He was great last night, by the way.
He was great last night, yeah.
He
was almost as good as our Vinicius, but he was good. He was good.
So when Vinicius came on, we genuinely looked a little bit more of a threat. Just something to aim for. That's no disrespect to Bobby D. Cordova-Reid. I thought he was fine, but he just when we got the ball in transition and we're trying to break, we didn't break with any sort of pace.
Yeah, spot on, yeah.
And we had the players to do that with Wilson, and we had Pereira, who's very, very quick as well, and Willian. But it seemed like we would be waiting too long to find that pass. And then we would find that pass. We'd look like we were about to break, and then Brighton would just press us and win it again. It was very, very, very good from them. But nothing on Bobby Reid. I just think that we do need a hold-up striker in Vinicius or Mitrovic, and having Bobby Reed. He doesn't have blistering pace. He can't get in behind as such, and we really struggled to get into their final third for basically almost the whole game. But in terms of Solomon coming off the bench, he's got a lot of pace about him as well. What a finish! Now the first touch is ridiculously good.
Yeah.
Like any more on that, keeper gets it. Any less on that, he's got to take another touch, and the angle might have been different. And what a finish! My view of it was incredible, and then it's all a blur from there. I don't remember anything that happened after that. Joe, I imagine you probably yelped or screamed or ran down the stairs.
I did celebrate. Yeah, I screamed much higher pitch than I speak on here. I couldn't believe it when the first touch took it away, as you say, and it takes him into the box. Like his first touch from, obviously not on the halfway line, you know what I mean, when I'm breaking towards the box, and then it's just lined up perfectly. And what a finish it was. And a huge shout out to half of Brighton for filming that, because honestly, the content that we've got has been sensational. And much of it has been good natured as well, I have to say. Like I enjoy watching opposition vlogs greatly. There's some awesome content creators out there that make videos like this, but also some that go to the games and actually record. And credit to them. And the content we've got from it has been fantastic this week. I know on other occasions it may be not so good for us, but today it was fantastic. The only thing I remember from after that was when Brighton got a free kick. Actually, there's two things. I'll say this one first. Brighton got the free kick, and I know that I was watching on a stream, so it's the way the camera was, but oh my God, I thought it'd gone in for a split second.
Yeah, at the back stanchion.
The other thing we've got to mention, and maybe this leads us in nicely to previewing the Wolves game, Jack, is Polina got booked for a perfectly clean tackle, which is a very small, admittedly, I don't know how to say it really. It put a slight dampener on the day. Looking back, at the time you don't care. Looking back, you think, oh my goodness, that's quite annoying that he got booked, because he's on 9 yellows. I can think of at least 3 of them that were never yellows, and that's one of them. And it means, for those of you that aren't aware, that one more booking means he's suspended for 2 league games. So if he got booked against Wolves, he would be suspended for Brentford and for Arsenal. It would not count for the Leeds game. What makes it very stupid is if he got because it's a league suspension only, accumulation of yellows. Here's what's stupid, Jack. If he gets 2 yellow cards against Wolves, that's a red card. He would be suspended against Leeds, and he'd miss no league games. I honestly don't get how that makes any sense.
Yeah, I made a point on the podcast of which I think was incorrect, so it didn't make the cut, but it was around that sort of, but it doesn't matter. It was basically around the whole when Mitrovic got the yellow card that got him out of Chelsea, and I don't really know if it was right or wrong. Anyways, we can move on. But yeah, there is a question now as to whether it's amazing he's got these many yellows, and like you say, like some of them should not have been yellows, because it's only a yellow card, and if you even get a second bookable offence and get sent off, you can't actually appeal it. But there has to be a system where you can appeal yellow cards.
Yeah, definitely.
Because some of them are so subjective. One of them literally on Saturday wins the ball, like you say. The one at Chelsea is never a yellow card either.
Nope.
It's
and
just
the thing is, I guess why they don't, that their argument for not appealing it would be that there's so many yellows every game. You know, I just looked before we started filming, we got 5 at the weekend, which is more than I could remember. I guess you could argue, you know, Fulham might appeal all 5. I just think that appeals would only be taken seriously if it's very, very clearly not a yellow. If it's subjective and you could see it one way or the other, fine. But this one, it was not a foul. It's not subjective one way or the other. It's just not a yellow card.
Well, Dan said at the weekend that every team should get like 3 appeals for yellow cards per season.
That's a good idea. Yeah,
that would actually make a lot of sense, because then it's nuanced and it's not like, oh, you're just nitpicking at certain like yellow cards that are inconvenient to you. It's genuine ones that you don't feel as though were yellow cards.
Yeah,
and if they get and if they're only yellow cards that, I suppose you could do it for any yellow card if you feel like a ban is going to be incoming, if they're going to get 4 or 5 or 9 or 10. So that would make sense, I suppose. It was something that I would definitely write a letter to the FA and ask them to sort of look at.
Let's write it up, Jack. Honestly, but can we write it up before Friday, please?
From the Jack and Joe show to the
Yeah.
FA. I don't. Is it Greg Dyke? Is he not? He's not the thingy anymore, is he?
I'm actually not sure.
We're short for time, so let's move on for the Wolves game. I'm just having a look at their lineup they played against Bournemouth. Of course, they lost the game. Jose Sarr in goal, Semedo, Dawson, Max Kilman, Bueno, Neves, and Matthias Nunes, Adama Traore, Jean Moutinho, Sarabia, of course, the new signing, and up front, Cunha. They only made 3 subs in the game. They brought on João Gomez, Podence, and Diego Costa.
Yeah.
And they've still got the likes of Nathan Collins, and Bentley, and Aitnuri, and Hodge, and Johnny. I mean, they've got, and Raul Jimenez, they've got a very good squad, Wolves. And Lopetegui's just sort of got them away from trouble. But that loss against Bournemouth has sort of maybe edged a few more nerves back into the Wolverhampton Wanderers fans. And of course, it's the big old Paulinho derby as well.
Yeah,
after the summer's antics. What are your thoughts on the game?
My thoughts on the game are banana skin, but a game that I'm very confident about. And my reason for being confident is not just to do with our form; it's to do with the opposition and their lack to this point of any potency up front. And we just have to hope that continues, because their game against Bournemouth on Saturday was almost like a slightly babied version of Brighton's dominance against us. It was not quite as full on. Bournemouth had a few more breakaways and a few more chances, but they only had 1 shot on target in the game, and that was the goal, and it basically came off his hip. It was another sort of smash and grab-esque win. I feel that if you play against Wolves, that if you score 2 goals in the game, you will be very unlucky not to win, because they just don't score many.
Apart from the game
There
against
are,
Liverpool.
and against Southampton, and those are both very recently. And in fact, a few of the occasions when they have scored more than 1 have been since the new manager took over. So is that a change? Potentially. They've not been bad away from home under him at all. They also beat Everton and drew at Villa. So definitely a banana skin, but one that I'm confident of winning purely because of how we're playing and the fact that we've got 3 clean sheets in a row. A 4th would be fantastic. And if we did get a 4th, I think that we'd break through at some point. In terms of our team news, Jack, I guess we can come on to who we play.
Yeah.
Firstly, it's a question of, and at this point we have no idea whether Mitrovic is back. Aside from that, I can't really think of any changes that you'd make unless, and I personally, I'm going to put my cards on the table, I strongly disagree with this. There's been a suggestion of not playing Paulinho in this one because of the yellow card situation and because we have Brentford next. I think it's a much better idea to just say to Paulinho and drill it into him, look, come on, like nothing outrageous. And I know that he didn't do anything outrageous on the weekend. But he's played against a Brighton team when we've been on the ropes for most of it, and he's avoided it making a bad foul for the whole game. I think he can do that again on Friday, surely. I would hope he can.
Yeah, I agree. I think dropping Paulinho for the sake of just saving him for Brentford is a bit of a risk anyway, because you lose a key man in midfield. It would maybe see Sasa Lukic play, but as we'll come on to the Leeds game, because obviously we play in the week next week, we can touch on Lukic then. I would bring in Solomon to start. He has to start. Come on.
And would that be ahead of Wilson?
Harry Wilson.
Yeah.
And then hopefully, this is the saying of Mitrovic. If not, I'd play Vinicius because we need that focal point.
And so who would your other winger be then? Willian?
Yeah, so probably Reed would come out. So it'd be 2 changes really, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I think just to put it out there, I do the exact same. Those 2 changes you've said.
And then Harrison Reed sitting in the same back 4.
Yeah.
Cool. Exactly. Leno in goal. Score prediction before we move on to the FA Cup game.
I'm feeling confident. Hope it doesn't come back to bite me, but we're playing well at the moment, and I've been confident the last few games of my predictions, but I'm going to go for 2-0 Fulham.
Oh, I never know what to say for these games. Friday night, Sky Sport. 2-1 Fulham. I was going to go 1-1, but I always go for draws and it's really boring. And actually, I nearly got it right. I said 0-0 against Brighton.
You did nearly get it right.
I was actually really annoyed when we scored. I was thinking, oh God, the prediction's wrong. But obviously not. 2-1. I think we'll go 2 up though.
Okay.
We'll get pegged back. Like Adama Traore will score again at the Cottage.
And yeah, the return of Lamina. Last time he played in a Fulham Wolves game, he left the pitch in tears.
Let's do it again.
Let's do it again.
Run it back.
Yeah, run it back. Turbo. Let's go. Come on.
Brilliant. Right. Would you take a defeat to Wolves but a win against Leeds?
Oh, okay. So for the sake of this, are we saying we can only win one of these games?
Yes.
For the sake of this question, then yes, I would beat Leeds. Which is bizarre, isn't it? Because we've got such a good chance of actually qualifying for some sort of European football. I want to put it out there. I want to win them both. But this Leeds game is big. And we're not going to get properly into the ticket situation because we don't want to dampen the mood of this show when we're all unanimous in agreeing with the fact that
we all know
the ticket prices are wrong and they are very evident in the sales, and completely fair play if you're not going, because I think £40 is way too much for the home end or the away end. And I think that Fulham will be embarrassed when we're on BBC One and nobody's there. Sorry, my fire alarm's just gone off. I think it's Mitch Fitch just broken in. So you take it away, Jack.
We've got very similar. Oh, that was very quick reactions. Normally it takes it's a bit of a, oh God, don't know what to do. No one in my family's tall enough to get the button to get the fire alarm off. But those burgers are sizzling.
We're there.
Yeah.
Thank God. I hope everyone's all right downstairs.
Yeah, no, swift reaction from whoever's downstairs. Leeds. Okay, so no, I want to get far on FA Cup. I think that's really exciting. So I probably would pick that Leeds game. But that being said, I think we have the capacity to win both. And I think Leeds. Who they got Leeds this weekend? Javi Garcia. Is it Southampton?
They've got Southampton, but there's a tricky thing about their new manager in that he hasn't got his work permit yet. So as of right now, he still hasn't run training. So his first game in charge could end up being us. It's not Craven Cottage. Question.
What a place to start your Leeds United managerial career. Javi Garcia. No, Gracia.
Yes.
Oh God. Okay. Well, we'll brush up on that before Tuesday. So quickly before we go, I know it's obviously very hard to say because we've got a game on Friday. You don't know how it's going to go, but on paper, what would you change for that Leeds game?
So to start off, I feel like this seems harsh, but if we were to beat Leeds and we got to the quarterfinals, I think from that point, that's when I would start playing Leno in goal, because that's business end of the competition, and I feel like you play your best team. And Leno is a better goalkeeper, even though Rodak has played very well in this competition so far this season, particularly in that away game at Sunderland when we were a little bit under the cosh at one point. I would go Rodak in goal for this, and the main changes I'm thinking are to get Tosin and Duffy involved, to get Cedric and Lukic involved. The rest of the team, I'm thinking to potentially play the first choice players. And for any of those that I've named, if their first choice alternative, so for example, if it wasn't Cedric, if it was Tete, if it wasn't Duffy, it was Diop, I'd be fine with them playing. I'm just thinking about rotation. But we have, I think it was Sammy, Jack, a while back, made a great point on the Telegram community group that we play on the Friday night and then we play on the Monday after. So we don't have a really tight schedule here. We could play our first team and not have any fatigue. Yeah. It's almost a question of why not at this point. We're 2 wins from Wembley, including this Leeds game. So why not go for it? So there's players, like I said, Cedric, Lukic, I'd love to get a look at against actual opposition rather than just in training videos or coming off the bench when the game's done. I'd like to see how they fare. But if it was a first choice team, I'd still be very, very happy.
Let's not even forget that we're playing a Premier League team in Leeds who ran us close to Ellen Road earlier this season. It's not like we're playing Sunderland, who, no disrespect to Sunderland, are a league below us. Yeah. Therefore, we did have that license to rest players. But I would pretty much go full strength, though. I would really go for it. In terms of Rodak Leno, I think Rodak deserves to play, but being brutally honest, I would rather Leno in stick just in case it goes pens.
That's a great point about penalties. Yeah.
Obviously, that's something that we haven't seen since we played Leeds in the Carabao Cup last season, and Rodrigo Muniz sent us all home crying our eyes out. Not really, but it's only the Carabao. And the Carabao Cup finals this week. This weekend, yeah, it is on the Sunday. That's very exciting. But it's nice to play on a Friday night and get the weekend started with the right way.
We hope.
Joe, I think that's it for today.
Yeah. Really enjoyed it, Jack. It's dinner time. And thanks everyone for watching, and enjoy both of these games. We won't do another video until post Leeds and previewing the big game at Brentford.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's huge. Actually, we could probably do the video on the Wednesday, reflecting back on the Leeds game.
Yeah.
And maybe go live. We shall see if we win on penalties, and
don't tempt me with a good time.
Leno scores the winning penalty, and
oh my god,
shushes the Leeds fans. I mean, that would be fun.
Oh my word, yeah.
But we shall see. Thanks so much for watching. I've noticed the subscribers have gone up quite a lot recently since we hit 5K. We're on like 17 new subscribers, so thank you very much for subscribing. And Joe, thanks so much for being here.
Cheers, Jack. Thanks everyone for watching.
Guys, thanks so much for your support. Can't believe we haven't even discussed the fact that Fulham are basically sixth on the table, and but you saw it on the podcast. It's been talked about a lot. Come on, Fulham. We'll see you against Wolves on Friday night.